Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. This story caught my eye of the province of Nova Scotia is claiming that they don't have any more to give, that the taxpayer and the budget and the deficit is so high, there's nowhere for it to go, which of course contrasts completely with the Liberal contention that the country is doing the best in the whole G7. And that there's money to burn and that we can just start giving it away for school lunches and we can send more over to Ukraine. I just feel like if we're going to be bailing out something, we should be bailing out the health system of Nova Scotia long before we bail out a dictator in Eastern Europe. But, I mean, that money is gone and it's probably never ever coming back. Maybe we can stop the payments. I don't know. Before I get into it, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with your socials. When you hit the notification bell, any content I put up will go directly into your feed. If you hit the like, the thumbs up, it convinces the algorithm that it's worth showing to other people because they may also like it. People that I might not have ever heard of me or I have yet to go into their feed even though they might be watching similar content. So this story is about the health minister in Nova Scotia asking Nova Scotia Health and IWK to prepare for a potential strike. Now, IWK is a woman and child's hospital, which we won't get into in this video, but it's apparently a standalone separate thing. Nova Scotia's health minister says there's no more to offer ahead of the final day of scheduled talks between the province, two health authorities, and the Council of Health Care Unions. In a letter to the CEO of the health authorities on Tuesday, Michelle Thompson asked them to begin to plan for labor disruption. The reality is that with the staggering provincial deficit, there is just no more to offer, Thompson wrote in her letter. We simply can't sweeten the offer because the taxpayer is already stretched to their limit. Workers represented by the unions include diagnostic imagery, laboratories, mental health, addictions, cancer, and paramedics. So I think that we're basically talking about the entire province of, like everyone in healthcare for the entire province, whether they be in the hospital or in aftercare. Now, this minister is a progressive conservative, which is an old title that we don't really use much anymore. Well, since the conservatives dropped the word progressive in lieu of the far left abuse of the word. So I don't know necessarily how far they lean one way or the other. What I can point to is that if they are in so much dire straits, if they are in so much trouble, we're supposed to have in this country equalization payments that can help for just this problem. Of course, most of those equalization payments, like 93%, go directly to Quebec. Now we have healthcare workers who are fighting all of the same problems. They're overworked. They're understaffed. I mean, don't think for 1 minute that they're not spread thin in Nova Scotia just like they are everywhere else in this country. They're paying more for their rent. They're paying more for their gas. They're paying more for their food. I mean, just think about the idea of working all those extra hours. Do you think you have time to prepare a lunch? Or are you just basically living in a blur of shower, sleep, and back to work? Any of you out there who have ever worked a 60 or a 72-hour week can appreciate what I just described. And you buy a lot of food when that happens, and that costs you extra money. Especially in most hospitals tend to have like a cafeteria and whatnot. I mean, I guess now that I think about it, it probably wouldn't make much difference with food prices the way that they are. What we can say with certainty is that the province is saying we've offered all that we have because we're flat broke. The deficit is so high, is the word that she wrote in the letter. And I think that compared to the Liberals trying to tell you that it's a nice, rosy economic situation in this country, those two things contrast. The taxpayer can't give any more. It means that they're paying through the nose for all their taxes already. I think the national average is 42 cents on the dollar. So every dollar you earn, 42 cents goes right into taxes in this country. For what? To have all of our infrastructure and all of our important supports falling to pieces? to have our hospitals not be able to staff or pay the staff that they do have while we send billions of dollars overseas to support foreign dictators in Ukraine, to fight foreign wars, while our own people go without, so that those that are not part of this country can somehow have more. So Justin Trudeau can stand up on a stage, or the Liberals can stand up on a stage and try to virtue signal to the rest of the world that they know what they're doing. This is exactly the reason why an economy matters. Because eventually the money runs out. Spending other people's money runs out. But when you have a strong economy, there's always more coming in. When you have a weak economy, you get ministers saying things like, with the staggering provincial deficit, there's no more to offer. Deficit, meaning that they are operating, spending more than they have coming in, because they simply do not have the economy to support just the hospitals. Imagine where they're cutting back on the schools. Imagine how it's going to look when they put in this $10 a day daycare. Imagine the corners they are going to cut for a non-profit daycare. I mean, they're going to be cutting corners for the hospitals. What hopes do you have in a daycare? And I think that it's time we actually look pretty seriously at, people will say left and right and center, and people will say, conservative and liberal. But in the end, a hungry stomach doesn't care. And the only way to get around it, the only way to ensure that we have a strong support system in this country, hospitals, schools, roads, is to have a buttload of money. And the only way we're going to have a buttload of money is if we get out of the way, cut the bureaucracy, and let's just start to crank out some capitalism. Some good old-fashioned capitalism that made everybody fat, that gave everybody $2,000 cell phones and $300 sneakers, or whatever they cost nowadays. And let's remember that it's fine and dandy to tell the world that we're trying to keep all the carbon out, or a little bit that we might contribute. But here we have a situation where the entire hospital system of a province is going to collapse. And the federal government is also deeply in debt. So all of these governments that are operating at a deficit, it's very irresponsible. You're passing on generational debt. We need to start cranking out all of the things that the world wants to buy from us. And we need to crank it out fast and furious so that we can put some money back in the coffers, so that we can fatten out the bank accounts. And then we can start talking about saving the world. Right now, we need to save ourselves. That's just my opinion. You can let me know what your opinion is down in the comments. I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you next time.